This is From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Each week, Janice shares her wisdom to enlighten, educate, and advance the culture in America today. Janice Pons is a mother, author, and free thinker, and your host for our podcast this evening. Now let's join your host, Janice Pons.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is episode 200. Happy episode 200. Yes, I've been hanging in here. It's been an amazing journey. My name is Janice Pons. I am the host on this podcast, From Destruction to Dignity, Clinical Perspective, Spiritual Truths. I've kind of figured out a couple of things by now. With me doing this for the 200th time. And I am so grateful for you all. Oh my God, thank you for the contributing to the growth of the podcast, downloading it. There's been growth of 1,320%. Shout out to Singapore. Shout out to Australia, Egypt, Africa, and the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America. And so let it be spread all over the world. I am so grateful for your support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you all. I'm praying for you, and I appreciate you immensely. So welcome to this podcast, From Destruction to Dignity, Clinical Perspective, Spiritual Truths. Tonight, we're going to continue on this amazing journey that we've been on together, where we've just simply been focused on our nation, trying to understand how it works, how it's supposed to flow, because there is order in our nation, and when it flows the way it's supposed to, we can get some powerful results. We have a history of getting results. We have a history of things going wrong, but we can correct it. So when we understand how our nation is structured, how it's supposed to work, our great flag, we know what that represents, all of the the states in our union, and our great union, the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America. Our flag reminds us to pray for our president and his cabinet and everything that they're doing. And I am really targeting the people that were suffering in the past. Last year, 265,900,000. I keep saying that because that's a lot of people, and they were really suffering, and they're trying to come out. Some people didn't make it, guys. They just didn't make it. We've seen the statistics. We've seen some figures that are not favorable at all. But who is here now is who is here now, and we want to empower each other, love each other, pray for each other. To me, it's about my fellow Americans. I'm so kind of done. I'm done with rhinos. I'm done with Democrats. I'm done. Really, if the Republican Party is not going to do the right thing, I'm done with them. But I want them to. I want us to flow together as one. That's forming a more perfect union. Us flowing together as one. Americans. 78% of working Americans were living on that paycheck to paycheck, barely making ends meet last year. That's not good. And so last year we said we want something different, and we got something different. We have a new leader. We have new cabinet, presidential cabinet. We have new people on Capitol Hill. The citizens, we spoke loud and clear that we issued a mandate, and we wanted something different. And do we have it ever? And I've repeatedly asked who needs to be the leader of America. We know who is, and a lot of people don't like it, and a lot of people love it. Because we weren't going in the right direction, and there's so much data and evidence to prove that. So tonight we're going to examine something that has generated a lot of discussion in our nation: rebuilding America. Rebuilding America. That's what we're going to discuss, and some details thereof. Evidence, and what's the evidence that's going on? That there was even a need to rebuild. Like a lot of people just say, well, I don't like what Trump's doing. I don't like what's going on. They don't even realize how out of order we were. A lot of people don't even realize how there is such a dire need to rebuild. Just if you consider what happened with the illegal immigration and the financial demand that it put on us, and how it was willfully perpetrated on us by the Biden-Harris cabal. What did they do? They brought these people in illegally. First of all, illegally. And we were paying, our taxpayer dollars were paying for their housing, their health care, their free money card, their child daycare. You need some help? Those that got children? for daycare. I know people paying $1,200 a month for daycare. And then they got to feed them. Lord Jesus, help us all. So they were bringing those people in, giving them free things. Just, you can stay in the Roosevelt luxury hotel in New York. And FEMA was paying for it. We did a podcast on that a couple of weeks ago. FEMA was paying for it when there had been an executive order to stop it because the president was trying to figure out what was going out and coming in terms of money. Imagine that. Figuring something out if you're a leader about how much money is going out and how much is going in. So why would someone be upset that a leader is trying to figure that out, something as basic as that? If that doesn't tell a story, I don't know what else. Listen, that emotionalism and that line they got y'all all tied up with, you can't even call a spade on something as basic as what goes out and what comes in. Let that marinate for a second. So, this is what was going on that was tearing us down. It contributed to the crime. We had over 13,000 illegal immigrants in our nation who had been convicted. Either said they were guilty or a judge and a jury found them guilty of kidnapping and homicide and other types of assaults as well. And we supposed to go, that's okay. They can roam my street. Can you roam the street as an American? If you've done that, no, they'd have us in a holding place somewhere up there at David L. Moss Detention Center here at the jail here in Tulsa until you got processed and sent off somewhere. If you had done any of those kinds of things. This is a reality, but we were supposed to go along and say, that's okay. We don't mind our taxpayer dollars taking care of that. Kamala Harris wanted us to pay for their surgeries of transition, and they were in prison. Are you kidding me? And we got people veterans that couldn't even get health care, waiting on appointments. Are you kidding me? This is how out of control we were. And then we have DOGE, the Department of Governmental Efficiency, that saw billions of dollars going out. People getting paychecks that just wasn't supposed to even get them, getting checks. People that were over 150 years old getting checks. People that were under 6 years old, money was going out. That system was a debacle. Who was monitoring it? Sounds like no one. So do you think there was a need to rebuild? Oh, yeah. In efforts to get this nation on track, so many, including our president, has endured harassment. So our clinical perspective is going to be overcoming harassment. I've been harassed, and I learned how to master that thing. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about it. The Trump administration is taking steps to rebuild our nation and to establish a system designed to collect revenue from foreign entities rather than American citizens. Stop right there. Why would someone be against someone working on our behalf to keep money in our pockets and let these foreign players that have been getting over on us like fat rats? That's what these terrorists are all about. And you would be so, falling apart in his efforts to keep money in your pocket. Stop right there and let that marinate a bit. We're talking about rebuilding America. Oh, yeah, there's a lot going on. They have lied to us for so long and kept us so wrapped up in diabolical emotionalism of being distracted and lied to and deceived and duped for so long. And for Black Americans, it's been a whole other level of centuries of slavery. And then they act like they wanted to help us and give us a check and a block of cheese to help us out back then. We're going to browbeat you, but then we're going to help you. And then you think Donald Trump is your problem. My God, do you hear me? Do you see the dynamics of what has been presented to us? But I'm telling you what, it's a new day. And people are starting to go, wait a minute, this is not making sense. And I welcome all of you to this podcast who are listening, and you're getting I know you're getting understanding. It's being downloaded more. 1,320% growth of this podcast. To God be the glory. And congratulations to you. And pass it on to others so they can get the truth, because it's the truth that's going to set us free. Now, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick discussed the plan that President Trump is executing, explaining how the president intends to restructure the nation's tax system. Do you think it needs any type of attention? Our Commerce Secretary, Lutnick, revealed that President Trump's proposal focuses on closing loopholes that allow foreign companies to avoid U.S. taxes. Large vessels, including cruise ships and super tankers, often register in foreign countries like Panama and Liberia to skirt taxation. Under President Trump's new policy, these industries would be required to contribute to what? Our federal revenue. Let that soak in for a minute. Some of y'all, the dots are starting to connect for you. Keep coming. Go back and listen to my previous podcast. God's going to show y'all some things. These dots are going to connect for you. They've been using and abusing us, getting over on us like fat rats, and you're getting understanding. Boy, you are something else when you get understanding and you get the truth. More than 50 countries targeted by President Trump's new tariffs have reached out to begin negotiations. And even China's like, well, we need to talk. Oh, yeah, we need to talk. His new tariffs have reached out to begin negotiations. And here are some countries. I'm not going to sit here and name all 50 of them, but I'm going to name some of them. Algeria, Angola, Bangladesh, Bosnia, Botswana, Cambodia, Cameroon, Chad, China, Democratic Republic of the Congo, European Union, the Falkland Islands, Fiji, Ghana, India, Indonesia, Iraq, Israel, Japan, Jordan, Pakistan, Laos, Madagascar, Malawi, Malaysia, Mozambique, Namibia, Burma. These people want to talk. See, when you got somebody at the table to know what this man is brilliant. I am convinced, listen, I don't worship that man, but there's been no leader like him. There's been no leader like him. I've had 13 presidents that I have observed growing up, from Eisenhower to Kennedy to Johnson and all the way up to Donald Trump. Never seen anybody like him. And they want to lie and perpetrate this buffoonery through the media to us that we don't see his brilliance. But his policies speak for itself. As this thing plays out, and you can't, somebody said, well, nobody's been around. I said, baby, we're 3 months in when they were saying that to me. We were 3 months in. Give it a minute. We've been dealing with 16 years of chaos. And before then, Lord have mercy, what the Democratic Party has perpetrated upon this nation is nothing less than diabolical. And I can prove it by history. It's been pitiful. Pitiful. Yes, it has. But you got to sit down and get out of your emotions and look at facts. Foreign alcohol imports are another focus of the administration's tax overhaul. Foreign alcohol. People drink alcohol. They get it from here. They're going to get it somewhere. Lutnick, a Commerce Secretary, noted that while American-made products are taxed, imported goods often enter the United States market without paying equivalent duties. Trump's reforms would impose it's going to impose new fees. Now, see, that's the deal. We have few fees for domestic income tax as part of, there's revenue that we have not been getting. And he has been saying that. They have taken advantage of us. And I recently read, I'm going to do a podcast on that the World Health Organization, there are organizations that are crumbling because they were using our money and they were not contributing as they should have. There's a new sheriff in town. I thank God for him. As part of his border trade agenda, President Trump has already introduced tariffs on key imports. New duties have been placed on products from China, Canada, and Mexico, with auto imports and semiconductors set to face additional fees in the coming months. These moves are intended to ensure that foreign nations pay a greater share of America's economic success. Elon Musk, his role with the DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, conducted a review of IRS operations, with officials reportedly assessing the agency's business units and long-term plans. The IRS, long viewed as one of the least popular government agencies, has been widely criticized for its inefficiency and overreach. Oh yeah, that's not news to anybody. So the president's plan, President Trump's plan, is to overhaul the tax system, and how he wants it to align with his broader push to reduce government waste. We've been wasting billions of dollars, guys. And to return power to the American people. Why would you have a problem with that? I'm going to let that soak in. Guys, people, you got to think, guys. They don't want us to think for ourselves. It's we the people. They work for us on Capitol Hill. We employ President Trump. We employ the branches of the government. They work for us. But they've been using us, getting over us on us like a fat rat. I love saying that because that's what was happening. What is the president doing? Shifting the responsibility of federal revenue collection to foreign entities who have been getting over on us like a fat rat. And he aims to lessen the financial burden on us as workers and businesses. All of these changes lead to rebuilding, and some don't like it. You know why they don't like it? You want to know why? Y'all ready? It's not hard. I think logic and deductive reason already gives you the answer. It's going to affect their bottom line. This right here, as they say, this him. That's what the old people in the country down in the rural area of North Carolina, they say, this him. Y'all know what that means. This right here, this him. Money. They want the status quo. Maxine Waters, they want the status quo. Chuck Schumer, all of them. Hakeem, I respect and appreciate these people, but they want the status quo. Thus, they have a mindset to come at our president in a specific way. It's just truth. So, there are some people that have a mindset to destroy and harass those who simply think differently than they do. There's room at the table for all thoughts. Yeah, that's what makes America America. That's what President Trump has been dealing with. Harassment. Orchestrated lawfare. So, listen, from a clinical perspective, let me keep this on, because I've been harassed. But it'll make you tough, it'll break you. We will examine and dissect the dynamics of harassment. What is harassment? Harassment is generally defined as unwanted behavior that makes a reasonable person feel uncomfortable, humiliated, or mentally distressed. That's what it's designed to. But when that demon and that devil presents itself to you enough times, you go, oh, I get it. I was explaining this dynamic to my son recently. And as you get older and you get these types of presentations, this is pervasive. You got to decide, what am I going to do with that? That's what I had about 4 different presentations in my career, and I was in the right every time. And it just went, okay, what am I going to do with that? And God trained me on what to do with it. He said, okay, you know what to do. And there's a lot of these strategy skills and tools and these clinical perspectives that I talk about on here. I have learned to master it, and it works. Some folk want you to cut somebody out and turn some tables over. Oh, yeah. And then they say, see how they act? Oh, yeah. Let me show you how they act. They have solution-focused resolve. What happens when you're harassed? Listen, what is it going to look like? It can be verbal. You got to recognize it. Oh, I'm being harassed. It can be verbal, physical, or suggested, and often involves repeated actions. And let me tell you right now, keep a log. I said keep a log. It saved me in one of them demonic interactions. I kept a log, and things got to a point of a mediation, and I can't talk about all the details, but I pulled that thing out. And because they asked me why, I said, do you really want to answer that question? Yeah. I started going through that thing, and they looked at me, about 5 of them. They were like, where did you get that? I was like, what do you mean, where did I get it? It's mine. Who gave you that information? I said, I kept a log of every interaction that occurred as it related to me. Those people got up and started running around that room, scrambling, making phone calls, and I tell you what, they were ready to settle. I won. Harassment. Harassment can include behaviors like offensive jokes, slurs, threats, intimidation, or ridicule. How are we to handle harassment? I'm telling you, I'm saying this again. I feel very impressed. Keep a chronological log. Keep a chronological log. What did I just say? Don't count on your memory. Keep a chronological log. Document things via email. Oh, yeah, that's for somebody. You just have to. Or you just go later and say, I forgot. Harassment is a form of employment discrimination that violates Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. There's an age discrimination in Employment Act of 1967, and there's an Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990. If your rights have been violated under any of that, you can keep a law. Now, we know all kind of dynamics are going on right now regarding whose rights and this and that, and a lot of it's going to be played out in court. And just keep a log. Keep a log. What is harassment? Harassment is verbal. It can be verbal abuse. It can be physical contact. It can be cyberbullying and more. It can be based on your race, your religion, or your gender. Verbal abuse, offensive jokes, racial or ethnic slurs, unwelcome comments about your religion, body shaming, and unwarranted criticism. Then you can even get into physical harassment, unwanted touching, patting, or hugging, punching or hitting, cyberbullying, harassment that takes place online, such as on social media or workplace communication tools. This is real, guys. Then there's psychological harassment, exclusionary tactics such as withholding information or gaslighting, racial discrimination slurs about a person's race or ethnicity, and disrespecting the person's culture. Then there's something called religious harassment, offensive comments about a person's religion. You holy rollers, you get up in here. Oh boy, I've seen that. And I was like, I was in a meeting, and I was like, I looked down at the end of the table and did this. What did you just say? Boy, that's all I had to say. I know you didn't just say that 3 of the people sitting at this table, you attack Christianity? That has no place in any clinical discussion. Because you're uncomfortable with your own spirituality? It was nothing but religious harassment. Document. Let's straighten them out. Me looking down there and pausing. What did you just say, please? I need to make sure I'm understanding. I'm just wanting to respectfully understand. Shut it down. I had somebody that want to keep me after in a clinical meeting at the end and then said out loud, I need Janice to stay so I can talk to her about her views on abortion. They were not ready for me. And I was like, wow, I thought that was strange. But I didn't know what I knew now. I didn't know what I knew now. And I stayed. By the time I got done with them, they were speechless. And it ended with, I tell you what, go do your historical study on Margaret Sanger and the quotes that she made. And I repeated the quotes. I said, then get back with me. They never did. And then I walked off, looked at them. And they were still sitting in the room and looking at me as I walked out. I said, any other questions? Totally inappropriate confrontation. I went there and they were left speechless. But it was because of my values and my life. I know what the Word of God says about life, when life starts. I know what he says. And, people have to give an account for what they choose to do. That's not my lane to tell them what to do. And if they ask me, I'm going to take them to the Word of God. If they want to, well, what does the Bible say? I hear people ask me, what does the Bible say about homosexuality? That was in a clinical setting. I went to the head man. I said, listen, they keep asking me, what does the Bible say about that? What am I supposed to say? Say, give them the scriptures and you don't tell them what you think. And that's exactly what I did. And they were like, Miss Janice, what do you think? I said, baby, it doesn't, no. In this setting, it doesn't matter what I think. You ask me, what does the Bible say? Here are the scriptures. Go read them. End of story. Religious graffiti can be a form of harassment. Other offensive verbal or physical conduct directed towards a religious group, that's harassment. Personal harassment, saying condescending statements from an employer, like what I was just describing, and it escalated. And that person had a bully-like presentation. I don't participate in bullying, and I can look straight at somebody very respectfully and say, you know what? I'd like to respectfully notify you of something. And I've done this before. The Holy Spirit told me to say it. I don't participate in this type of verbalization back and forth. I just don't do it. And I remember he had me to say, listen, I hear what you're saying, and I respect you as a person, but I need to notify you of something. That's your issue, not mine. And I paused right there, and I said, and I refuse to own it. Well, I'm sorry. I accept your apology. Don't let people off the hook. Sometimes it's all right. No, it's not. No, it's not. Harassment is not all right. They got to take responsibility. They should. Well, there's a golden opportunity. Get that stuff off you. And I said, well, I accept your apology. They ain't mess with me anymore. You hear me? They ain't mess with me. They left me alone. Back home growing up. They ain't mess with me no more. True story. Harassment can have a profound impact on the victim, undermining their dignity and mental well-being. What's a good way to handle it, guys? Stay calm. What would happen if we stay calm and remain composed? What would happen if we assess the situation to determine if the situation even feels threatening? What would happen if we ignore or walk away sometimes? What would happen if we ignore the harasser and walking away, seeing it as the safest and most effective response? What would happen if we respond assertively, where we say, I feel very uncomfortable with the tone of voice that I'm hearing right now, and I prefer that we talk at a lower tone, or gosh, this conversation probably needs to end. I feel and I prefer. I feel and I prefer. That's being assertive. You're going to be assertive. You're going to be aggressive where you holler and cuss. You're going to be passive aggressive, meaning you're going to be passive towards a person that's really causing you the problem, and you'll take it out passive aggressive. You'll be aggressive to somebody else. You're not upset with the dog that you kicked, or the door that you punched, or the wall that you put a hole through because of what this person is doing to you. You're being passive to them, being passive aggressive, and then there's being passive. Passive is you shut down, you don't talk, you stuff it, and you pop. And that pop can manifest in some horrible ways. So assertive communication, that's a whole podcast. The levels of communication: assertive, passive, passive-aggressive, or aggressive. What would happen if we respond assertively? If you feel comfortable, you have to practice it. And you can confront the harasser assertively. If you experience harassment, you can report it to your supervisor, HR, or other designated persons. You can also get witnesses, document the harassment, and consider filing a complaint. Report the harassment. President Trump was harassed on different social media platforms, and one of the main ones settled with him for $25 million. ABC settled with him for $15 million. Accountability. Follow your company's reporting procedures. Report to your immediate supervisors, HR, or other designated persons. What would happen if we did that? What would happen if we took action quickly if it's warranted? What would happen if we documented harassment? You better believe his lawyers were documenting what was going on with him. What would happen if we record the names of those involved, their position, and the type of harassment? What would happen if we record dates, times, locations, and names of any witnesses? What would happen if we record all incidents in a safe place? You get away, you get a safe place. What would happen if there were witnesses to what was going on? What would happen if we say, it's safe to talk to others who may have witnessed the harassment? What would happen if we find allies or others who have been harassed the same way? What would happen if we considered filing a complaint, which is our constitutional right to do? What would happen if we filed a complaint with the EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission? They protect us from being harassed if you report discrimination. And then if they're found guilty of whoever is being held accountable, if they try to do something else to you, it's called retaliation. Ask me how I know. You have to let people assertively know this is not acceptable. You don't, and at the same time, what would happen if you don't give them an audience? Document your stuff. Take action. What would happen if we take action? What would happen if we don't stop until the complaint is resolved and necessary action is taken? What have we looked at tonight? Rebuilding America. All this, what we're talking about, these dynamics, it's talking about rebuilding America. Donald Trump has been kicked. He's had his behind kicked. Boy, that man's strong. He can take a butt kicking. Oh, yeah. But he has a goal to rebuild this nation. And our clinical perspective is overcoming harassment. What have we looked at tonight? We're looking at going from destruction to dignity. All of this stuff is destructive. But there is a path of dignity where we can go, you know what? There's a right way to do things. There's a wrong way. And when we take the high road, we're taking the path of dignity. And then, as we form a more perfect union, we go together from destruction to dignity. And these ways of thinking, I'm just simply provoking thought and bringing awareness. And we can go, you know what? Yeah, wisdom is the principal thing. But in all my getting, I'm getting wisdom, but I'm going to get some understanding. And that's my goal. That's my heart. Because I know how this works. When you teach it to children and you have youth that think this way, they become powerhouse adults. Oh, yeah, I've seen this. I've been a teacher, school psychologist, clinician, so many things that I've been blessed to be. One of the most proudest things I've ever been is to be a Blue Star mom and just to be an American. I love America. I love you. I love my audience. I'm praying for you. Let's keep coming back. We're going somewhere. It's expecting us when we get there. I know a place. Ain't nobody crying. Ain't nobody worried. We can get to the place where we're not worried. Why? We're flowing together as one. We're walking in harmony. We're walking in peace. Ain't no smiling faces, and we have seen so much trepidation going on. I said this a few weeks ago about no accountability for what happened in 2020. I said it was 10 people. Guys, I did a little more digging. There were 42 Americans who lost their lives. And I dug and dug and dug. There were 2 of them that there was accountability regarding what happened to them in the summer of 2020. 2020. 2. Wow. We can do better than that. We're forming a more perfect union. I know a place. Ain't nobody crying. Ain't nobody worried. Ain't no smiling faces. And we're going to start smiling. Lion to the races. That lion is going to stop because we're going to proclaim the truth from the mountaintop. I'll take you there. Keep coming back. I love doing this. I'll see you next week. Good night.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Janice's mission is to provoke thought, bring awareness, and point people towards intervention when needed. As a reminder, this show is not therapy, but for educational purposes only. For more information, check out JanicePons.com or follow her on social media.
We are God empowered, strength is ours, liberty, been set free, education, affirmation, dedication, information, revelation.